I've given a few speeches in front of classrooms of students, but never in an arena with more than 10 million people watching. It's one of his defining qualities, and I've seen it in action all of my life. Whatever he does, he gives his all and does it well. More of Donald Trump's children are getting heavily involved in his campaign. Now his second youngest, Tiffany, is hitting the trail. She made it a point to thank volunteers supporting her dad at various Republican headquarters in Philadelphia and the nearby suburbs. Melania Trump didn't like sharing the spotlight, especially not with Donald's forgotten daughter. While the other half of the Trump family dominated headlines, Tiffany Trump was growing up 3,000 miles away in sun-soaked California, living a life worlds apart from Trump Tower's golden elevators. Now, at 31, Tiffany is finally breaking her silence about what happened between her and her Ice Queen stepmother. Did Melania secretly become Tiffany's strongest ally? And why is Tiffany only speaking out now? Join us as Tiffany Trump confirms the rumors about Melania Trump. When you hear the name Trump, huge skyscrapers, fancy gold elevators, big money business deals, and yes, America's president come to mind. But there's one Trump that paints a whole new picture, who grew up totally different from the rest. So different that many people forget she's even part of the famous family. Tiffany Trump, Donald Trump's only daughter with his second wife, actress Marla Maples, was born on October 13, 1993, in sunny West Palm Beach, Florida. Little Tiffany came into the world just 2 months before her parents got married. That timing set the stage for a life that would look nothing like her half-siblings, while Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric were growing up in the busy streets of New York City, learning how to become future business bosses. Tiffany was on a completely different path. Her parents split up in 1999, and that's when her mom, Marla, made a bold yet difficult choice. She packed up, left the Trump world behind, and moved to the laid-back hills of California. Marla had one big goal: to give her daughter something that being a Trump rarely allowed, a normal childhood. And it worked, well, as normal as life could be with the last name Trump. Tiffany's childhood in Calabasas was far removed from the high-pressure world of Trump Tower. While her half-siblings were steeped in business dealings and city life, Tiffany found joy in simpler things like backyard trampolines, Gilmore Girls marathons, and a quieter, more private life with her mom, Marla. The contrast wasn't just in their lifestyle. It was in the quiet, unassuming way Tiffany grew up, away from the glaring public eye that shaped her siblings. She went to a private school called Viewpoint School, where tuition costs over $30,000 a year. Still fancy, but nothing like the high-pressure, camera-filled life her brothers and sister had back east. Tiffany's friends from those days remember how she loved reading teen magazines and talking about boys, just regular teenage stuff. She played volleyball after school and joined the choir, finding her own identity away from the Trump brand. Her classmates knew who her dad was, of course, but it wasn't something she bragged about. To them, she was just Tiffany, the blonde girl with the nice smile who always shared her snacks at lunch. The bond between Marla and Tiffany went beyond that of mother and daughter. They were more like best friends, with endless late-night talks, shared moments of joy, and a life free of the spotlight. They'd stay up late talking about everything, cook together, and go hiking in the California hills. Their life wasn't about press conferences or fashion shows, it was about real, quiet moments together. But Tiffany's relationship with her famous dad, well, that is complicated. Donald Trump made sure she had money for the best schools, lived in a safe neighborhood, and never went without the things she needed. But when it came to actually being there, that job belonged to Marla alone. Tiffany visited Mar-a-Lago during spring breaks, and Donald flew out for school events when he could. But compared to how much time he spent with his New York kids, Tiffany's moments with her father were few and far between. Marla once said her daddy was a good provider of education and such, but as time went on, it was just her. That one sentence tells you everything you need to know. During middle school, Tiffany got really into music. She even recorded a pop song called Like a Bird when she was 17. It didn't top the charts, but it showed her trying to make her own path, not just follow in her father's footsteps. For Christmas and birthdays, while her half-siblings received business books and lessons in negotiation, Tiffany got normal teenager gifts, clothes, music, and the latest gadgets. Her room wasn't decorated with Trump logos, but with posters of her favorite bands and photos with her California friends. At 31 years old now, Tiffany has started talking more openly about her unusual childhood. What many people thought they knew about her turns out to be just part of the story. And while she may have missed out on the New York Trump experience, what she got instead was something maybe even more valuable: a childhood filled with a mother's undivided attention and love, far from the chaos of the Trump spotlight. But how did little Tiffany even exist? The scandal that created her rocked America and destroyed a marriage. But was it worth it? Mistress, marriage, and baby Tiffany. Before Tiffany Trump was even born, a scandal was splashed across the front pages of every newspaper in America. Donald Trump, the flashy New York businessman, was still married to his first wife Ivana when he met a young, pretty blonde from Georgia named Marla Maples. They first crossed paths in 1985 at a party in New York City. With her big smile and soft Southern accent, Marla instantly caught Donald's attention. She was chasing dreams as an actress and model, while he was already rich and famous with his name on buildings. They talked, but nothing serious happened yet. Over the next few years, they kept running into each other at parties and events. By 1989, the whispers began. Donald was spotted with Marla at restaurants, in limos, and sneaking around Manhattan, while Ivana thought he was working late. The secret didn't stay secret for long. Paparazzi followed them everywhere. One journalist even hid in the bushes outside Marla's apartment, snapping photos of Donald arriving at odd hours. Tipsters called tabloids with sightings. Then came the moment no one could forget. In December 1989, Donald took Ivana and their 3 kids, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, on a ski trip to Aspen, Colorado. What Ivana didn't know was that Donald had also invited Marla to Aspen. He was sneaking away from family time to meet up with her. One afternoon, Ivana walked into a busy restaurant for lunch and spotted Marla a few tables away. The room froze as Ivana stormed over. With her strong accent, she reminded Marla that she and Donald had 3 children and told her in no uncertain terms to stay away. Cameras flashed. Forks stopped midair. The next day, headlines exploded. The affair was no longer a rumor. It was full-blown tabloid gold. After that, things unraveled fast. By early 1990, Donald and Ivana's marriage was in pieces. There were fights over everything: infidelity, money, custody. Lawyers got involved. The divorce battle began. Meanwhile, Marla didn't back off. She believed she and Donald were truly in love. She even gave an interview to a newspaper where she made a pretty bold statement about Donald, saying he was the best she'd ever been with. Of course, the New York Post ran it in huge letters on the front page, and honestly, people are still talking about it today. By 1992, the messy, high-stakes divorce was finalized. Ivana walked away with $14 million, a mansion in Connecticut, and an apartment in Trump Plaza. She also got full custody of their 3 children. Not long after, Donald and Marla announced they were expecting a baby. In October 1993, Tiffany Ariana Trump was born, named after the famous jewelry store Tiffany & Company, which sat right next to Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. 2 months later, in December 1993, Donald and Marla were married at the Plaza Hotel. It was a massive, over-the-top wedding with 800 guests, including celebrities and socialites. Marla wore a silk gown with a 17-foot train and a tiara made of diamonds and pearls. The cake stood 6 feet tall. Donald, who owned the plaza at the time, spared no expense. But behind the glitz, cracks were already showing. Friends said Donald seemed distracted during their honeymoon. Marla wanted him to be more present, especially for Tiffany, but he was always working, always away. They tried to make it work. Marla hoped fatherhood would change him, but by the time they separated, it hadn't. Their divorce was finalized in 1999. What surprised many was how little Marla received, just over $2 million, due to a strict prenuptial agreement. Compared to Ivana's 14 million, it was a sharp contrast. After the split, Marla moved to California with young Tiffany, seeking a quieter life. Meanwhile, Donald was already moving on. He soon met a Slovenian model named Melania Naus, his future third wife. The scandal that brought Tiffany Trump into the world had ended, but its effects would shape her life. With Marla gone and Tiffany in California, Donald's heart didn't stay empty for long. But would the new woman accept his distant daughter? Melania entered the picture. While little Tiffany was adjusting to life in sunny California with her mom, her dad was busy rebuilding his life in New York. That's when the story took a new turn with the entrance of a woman who would change everything, Melania Naus. In September 1998, the Kit Kat Club in Manhattan was packed with glamorous people. Among them was a stunning 28-year-old model who had moved to America from Slovenia 2 years earlier. Melania stood out, tall, poised, quiet, and mysterious. Unlike many women Donald had dated before, fresh from his divorce from Marla, Donald noticed Melania across the room and was immediately drawn to her. When he approached and asked for her phone number, Melania surprised him. Instead of giving him her number, she asked for his. Later, Melania said she was curious, she wanted to see what kind of number he'd give her. If it was a business line, that would say a lot. She didn't want to be just another conquest. Donald, likely surprised but impressed by her confidence, gave her his number. She waited a whole week before calling him. For a man used to getting what he wanted right away, this was something new. Their first date was at a cozy Italian restaurant in downtown New York. Melania ordered spaghetti but barely touched it as they talked for hours. Donald was surprised by how well she listened. She didn't interrupt or try to impress him with stories about herself. She just watched him quietly, taking everything in. When Donald asked about her modeling career, she responded simply, no bragging, no drama. This was very different from the attention-grabbing relationship he had with Marla. Melania seemed content staying in the background, which was refreshing for a man whose life was always in the spotlight. But dating Donald Trump meant more than just being with him. It meant entering a ready-made family with adult children who had strong personalities. Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric were all teenagers or young adults when Melania entered the scene. And far away on the West Coast was Tiffany, the young daughter Donald barely saw. Most women might have focused on the older children living nearby in New York, but Melania took a different approach. She understood what it felt like to be an outsider, having moved to America from a small town in Slovenia. Maybe that's why she made a special effort with Tiffany from the start. There's a sweet photo from 2000 that captures this. It shows Melania smiling warmly, holding Tiffany close at a tennis match while Donald watches the game. It wasn't just for appearances, they were genuinely connecting. Melania wasn't trying to replace Marla or become Tiffany's new mother. She was simply offering friendship to a little girl who lived far from her dad. During those early years, whenever Tiffany visited New